Major funding for Jan Scott Tonight is provided by Mike's Camera and Video. Additional funding provided by Mickey Manor and by Foothills Shooting Center, by Dinstall's Fine Garage, by Stagehouse Books and Prints, and by Eads News and Smoke Shop, and by Casa Alvarez Mexican Restaurant, and by Pour La France, Runner's Roost, by Boulder Army Store.
This week, Jann takes his camera to the Ku Klux Klan rally on the downtown Boulder Mall. Then, he runs pool footage of President Clinton's speech in Civic Center Park. All part of this year's Martin Luther King's birthday celebration on Colorado's #1 nightly talk show, Jann Scott Tonight.
You've been taught to hate your European heritage. And those who come here today with hatred towards me will only discover that I come to you with love.
Somehow I find that hard to believe.
Those who we call the November criminals. These people have given up on the Democrats and have given up on the Republicans. They're looking for a new direction, a new hope. And that is why we are here today.
Direct yourself somewhere
and that is why we
else.
hold our many rallies around the country. Because the Knights of the Ku Klux Klan, ladies and gentlemen, is the last hope for America. Then there are those that are here today. Some of you that are here today are here because you're curious about the Klan. I realize that there are several different kinds of people here today. There are those who will always hate me, no matter what I say, and no matter what I do. I know that there are those here today who hate me because they don't understand what the Knights of the Ku Klux Klan is about, and they hate us only because they do not know us. Many of them will leave with a little less hatred. Many of you will leave with a little less hatred. Some of you will even learn and discover that you don't hate the Klan as much as you thought you did. And then there are, of course, the police, who are here in keeping with their duty of maintaining peace and order. The police are not here today in force because they are afraid the Klan is going to start trouble. No, it is because they know, I know, the media knows, and you know that the police are here to control the hatred and bigotry of those who hate the Klan. We could not have our rally today. They said we did not fill out the proper form, that we did not come and ask them for permission, that we did not buy insurance. Well, we are here today because the tiny town tyrants of Boulder do not own the First Amendment. I had to explain to them several times over the past few weeks and give them some simple lessons in First Amendment guarantees.
Oh, Communist Party USA, Colorado chapter. So what do you think of the these white supremacists coming down here, Ku Klux Klan today?
I think it stinks.
Really? A lot of people don't like the Communist Party either. They kind of hold the Communist Party in the same level that they do the Ku Klux Klan. What do you say to that?
That's ridiculous. We are diametrically opposed to everything they stand for.
Can you give me a couple examples?
Well, racism, for one thing. We're for the equality of all races.
How's the Communist Party doing in Boulder? I've never seen a Communist Party banner before, so I was kind of curious.
Still hanging on.
It's now who are you guys?
I'm Thunder Pussy.
Thunder, excuse me, you are who?
Thunder Pussy.
I thought you said that, madam.
Superheroine.
And you're here today you have your cape on and everything. You're here to protect
All lesbians.
all lesbians. Oh my God. Okay.
Gays and lesbians and bisexuals, transgenders. That's what Thunder Pussy does.
Do you think that these people have anything against gays and lesbians?
I think so.
Really?
Don't you, Jann?
I don't know. I was just kind of curious.
I think so.
What's your
I've heard
problem?
them say some negative things about us.
What's your problem with the Ku Klux Klan?
I don't have a problem with them.
Do they want to suppress? You don't?
I don't have a problem with them. They have a right to exist.
Oh, okay.
So do I.
You think they want to suppress lesbians?
I think they want to suppress all people who aren't white and probably male.
I haven't seen. Oh, they have some women members.
That's true. They do have.
I wonder if they have any
token
lesbian
women.
members. You think?
We should ask them.
You could join. You could infiltrate them. It'd be Thunder Pussy, member of KKK.
I don't think so.
All right.
I kind of like being a superheroine.
Now, who's your friend?
This is Bat Person.
Bat who?
Bat Person. I am Bat Person.
Bat Person? Jan Scott, star of radio and TV. How are you? Defender of truth, justice, and the American way. What?
My mask.
So you're here today. Why? Wham!
Hate, whamming, hate. It's very simple, Jan. Hate, not good.
You think it'll be peaceful?
Yes, we are envisioning peace.
Good. Thanks. Nice to visit with you both. First they came for the Jews, and I did not speak out. Never again. Silence is never the right response. That's an interesting point. In the press, there are a lot of people that called for being silent and don't showing up.
Oh, I know. I think it's totally wrong.
Do you guys represent any group, or are you just like
We represent fucking Boulder.
kids in Boulder?
Boulderite children against hate.
Now you look Aryan, but you're not over there with them because they're ridiculous.
Yeah. Why does everybody keep saying you are an Aryan?
I don't know. Have they been saying that to you?
That's why I'm here.
Have they tried to recruit you?
Huh?
Have they tried to recruit you?
No.
Are they trying to breed you, Aaron?
Yeah, we decided they were going to try and breed me, but
Freeze you?
breed me.
Breed you. Ooh.
Yeah.
Hitler did a lot of that,
I am
didn't
a
he?
true
Are you?
Aryan.
You are.
but Sadly enough. Fuck it.
Okay. Thanks. Sheriff Epp,
Yes,
what do you expect today?
We don't know what to expect. We hope that speaks.
How many officers do you have down here?
We got about 50 altogether.
50. Ready to go in any event.
Ready for whatever we encounter, we hope.
But it doesn't look like, I mean, so far, I've been here for an hour, everybody's pretty tame.
Seems pretty peaceful so far.
You don't expect anything like what happened in Denver, huh?
We hope not.
Can you talk about a little bit about the, and I'm sure you probably can't tell us everything, but about some of the contingencies that the Sheriff's Department takes in an event like this to protect the people and protect property and also probably to protect the Klan?
Well, we've got a lot of plans. I could spend the next hour going over them.
Could you just give him to his bottom line what some of the plans are?
We have a number of contingencies for anything that we could think of.
That's where I came from. Some
Riot, confrontation.
Guns. What if somebody wants?
People up on the roof.
There are people on the. Oh yeah, there we go. Right up here. These are Sheriff's Department. Snipers.
It's my barber.
Huh?
It's my barber.
Oh, your barber? He's trying to give you a haircut. Where have you been?
Yeah, I need one. I was going to get one today. Well, he's here too.
Uh-huh.
I think people forget that Martin Luther King was killed for his commitment to ending the war in Vietnam and for economic justice and for racial equality. And the Klan were out killing people in those days. So to me it's pretty clear we have a choice about what we want to do with the Martin Luther King holiday. We choose to remember Martin Luther King.
People forget about that, don't they? What the Ku Klux Klan really stands for.
I think so. These guys are pretending that they're Republicans. The Daily Camera was pretty good this week in pretending that they're just kind of harmless Republicans too. But the reality is their techniques are torture and murder and intimidation. That's my perspective on it.
Yeah.
The First Amendment gives people the right
to free assembly, right?
To free assembly.
If they don't pose a
speech.
threat, isn't there a
Yeah,
caveat?
everybody has the right to pursue happiness, and if they're engaging in verbal violence, this is unconstitutional.
Well, the problem, I think the reason, of course we could find out, I think the reason they gave them permission is they'd probably
They wanted
lose
to
in court.
minimize.
They'd
Yeah.
lose in court anyways.
Right, no, I understand, but
Yeah.
that's something that has to change in the country.
You think so?
Yeah, I mean, we're not allowed to be violent on the streets, and this is a form of violence. I mean, these people are hate speech is violence. Violence isn't limited to just to kicking somebody or stabbing somebody or robbing somebody. These people are practicing a form of violence, and that's unconstitutional. So the First Amendment has nothing to do with this whatsoever.
Oh, really? That's a good point. Because hate speech is illegal, isn't it?
This country does not think about violence in any other terms except rape or murder. And there are all kinds of violence. There's structural violence, racism and structural violence. These people don't have any leg to stand on in the First Amendment. I mean, and this country doesn't seem to care about it.
It's not the recognition from the Klan that makes us peace, it's the hate.
Turn our backs to the Klan and turn our faces to Martin Luther King.
Support peace against their hate. It is not hate towards them. It is hate towards their hate.
He's a survivor from the concentration camps in Dachau and Auschwitz, and he has a couple words to say to you. Let's give him a big round of applause and screams.
Okay, this is the first time I've used one of these. But what I love about this is what did not happen in Germany. You who are here did not happen in Germany when it was happening to everybody in Europe. When it was happening to my family. When my brother and I wound up the only two survivors of a family of about 100. You must continue this way. And never step back. Never step back for pointy heads and pointy hoods, because they're nothing other than American version of the Nazi murderers. Nothing other. And if they get a chance, you'll see it happening here, because you are human and the Germans were human. We're all only human. So be careful. Be watchful. Don't accept shit from idiots. And by the way, if you feel angry, yell pointy hoods for pointy heads. A former member of the Nation of Islam. I'm not a Muslim. I'm not a member of the Nation of Islam. But I bring to your attention that a few months ago, Khalid Muhammad, the person that we've all heard about on CNN and the nightly news, tried to come to Boulder and speak to people. He just wanted to be heard. There were people here who just wanted to hear what he had to say. The members of the community, for whatever reasons, through whatever methods, got together and decided that he should not be allowed to speak. There were even some references made to the fact that people might riot, that our black students might get violent if Khalid Muhammad was allowed to speak in Boulder.
I want people!
A couple months later, not too long from then, we have the Klan. For whatever reasons, through whatever methods, they're being allowed to speak, to hold court in the middle of downtown Boulder. I didn't hear once that people thought that we would riot,
that there would be violence, that it would be dangerous. They're probably not going to come out and call you a nigger, call you a fag in public. They're probably not going to, you know, call you a kike or whatever. But that doesn't mean that they don't have subtleties going through their hearts and through their minds that will enable them to basically still retain an element of prejudice and racism in their hearts. Like I said, wishing you peace, love, and happiness. Just a few thoughts to think about, of nobody in particular. But let's march on. Let's move to a better day.
No Nazis! No KKK! No fascist USA! No Nazis! No KKK! No fascist USA! No Nazis! No KKK! No fascist USA! No Nazis! No KKK! No fascist USA!
So what do you think of these guys being here?
Ignorant.
Huh?
He's ignorant. I don't know why they're here. No one's listening.
Are you all? You're all Asian? What's your heritage?
Japanese,
Korean,
Chinese, Korean.
Chinese, Korean.
All.
So you're hanging together in unity, huh?
Yeah. We're just friends. We'll be friends with anybody.
Yeah.
Like these fools.
Do you guys? What about experiencing racism? You experience racism where you
experience a lot on campus.
Right here?
Yeah.
In Boulder?
Yeah. Tell about the dude downstairs. Yeah. We're from Hawaii, so.
Oh yeah.
So we don't experience.
We have a guy that lives downstairs from
We're
us.
majority.
He says he's Christian.
Yeah.
And I don't know. He just comes up to us, bothers us, harasses us. He calls us, you know, foreign names and stuff. Don't put up to that, man.
Like this guy, he calls everybody bigots. You know? He's ignorant. He's just ignorant.
Loeb or whatever his name is, the Grand Dragon of the Ku Klux Klan.
He talks big when he has a lot of cops protecting him, a lot of gates in his way. He ain't gonna come out and meet the public.
It's your first run in with the Ku Klux Klan?
Yeah. Don't get much in Hawaii.
I think it's a good thing they have police protection. So you guys are big guys. I don't know. It's like it's interesting. You guys are all Asian. You kind of, hang together. I don't know. It's like not a lot of Asian people.
Really.
Got to?
Got to
in this community.
Yeah. Boulder,
Really,
Boulder, yeah. It's not exactly a diverse community. It's not like
I'm from Aurora, and down there, it's pretty diverse. But like when I came up here, it's the first time I really experienced any racism.
What about Asian gang activity? You guys ever get accused of being in Asian gangs or any of that stuff, or no? Yeah. Or,
I mean, everyone has their groups of friends.
Yeah.
And they consider that a gang.
Sometimes
we're just a group of friends.
they make mistakes. Sometimes.
Yeah.
Maybe sometimes they're not racist. They're just ignorant.
That's just how they on the news.
That's how they know.
All the bad stuff that goes on, they think it's the blacks.
See, I don't know, because I don't know very many Asian people. So if I see like a lot of Asian guys together, I go, maybe an Asian gang. You never know. I don't know. It's my.
There's a lot of them though.
Yeah, there's a lot. They give us a lot of bad names, but
Not in Boulder, not so much in Boulder though.
No.
I think or is
Down
it?
in Denver. Denver side.
In Denver, yeah. Who's the godfather of the Asian community? Crime godfather of Denver?
No idea. Don't associate with that.
Let me tell you that his life should have special impact for every American, for he freed the rest of us too of our hatred, our bigotry, of the illusion which still crops up from time to time, that we can somehow lift ourselves up by putting others down. That somehow if we can just find someone to look down on, we can feel like we're being looked up to. Martin Luther King knew better than that. I ask you today, my fellow Americans, to think about why he lived and what he laid his life down for. To think about what ought to be driving our lives, our individual lives and our lives as citizens. You heard earlier Dr. King's famous I Have a Dream speech. I saw a sign held up earlier when I came in saying that they had a dream for America. Did I have a dream for America? The people holding the sign up there. Remember what Martin Luther King said? He said, "My dream is deeply rooted in the American dream." What did he mean by that? The founders said, "We hold these truths to be self evident that all are created equal and endowed by their Creator with certain inalienable rights, and among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Today, my fellow Americans, I want to talk to you about our common right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. I ask you to think today of government, but to think beyond government to people. I ask you to think today of the programs and the work of government, but to think beyond that to the lives of people. I ask you to remember today that more than anything else, Martin Luther King's life was a life of service. Even as he marched all across this land and took that vast throng to Washington, D.C., and asked the government to act, he knew that in the end, what was in the heart and the spirit and the mind of the average American citizen was even more important. And that is why he always said that all of us had a responsibility to do our part and to serve. Martin Luther King said, everybody can be great because everybody can serve. He said, if all you do is sweep the streets, then sweep them. Just as well as Michelangelo painted the Sistine Chapel. Be the best street sweeper that ever lived. Serve and serve. I was asked the other day, of all the things that had happened in the last 2 years, was there one achievement I could say I was most proud of? And I said, I think it was the creation of the National Service Program. And some of them are here today. Why? Because these young people are committed to service. And if we all are committed to the idea that we are bound up with one another, then we can all be great, and our country will be great. When I came here in 1992, I was worried about the direction of this country. I was concerned about the economic problems of America. More importantly, I was concerned that we seemed to be drifting and divided, and that we had no clear role for how we might work together to build a better future, to reclaim that dream for which Martin Luther King gave his life. And I told you that I would seek, for my part, to do three things. One, to give this country a new economic policy that would bring down the deficit and bring up employment and bring us forward toward the next century. Two, a different way of governing, that I would reduce the size of the federal government and increase its creativity, its effectiveness, its relevance to your life. And we have done both those things. We have restored a sense of economic direction and opportunity to this country, and the government is smaller and yet still more effective. No one exemplifies that any better than Denver's Transportation Secretary, Federico Pena. But I knew then, and I say again now, that that would be fine but not enough. That we literally had to change our relationship in America as citizens to our government, and most importantly, to each other. It was what I called then, and what I say now, was a new covenant. The idea that you have a right to certain opportunities, but in return you must exercise personal responsibility in return for those opportunities to make the most of your own life, the life of your family, the life of your community, and the life of your country. So let me ask you to think about this. Look at all the young people in this audience. Look at the fine young people in their band uniforms. Look at the young people around the choir and the young kids here. Look at all the children here. All different colors and backgrounds. What is the American dream? It is the right to pursue happiness. It requires a certain equality and a certain respect. It requires us to listen as well as to talk. I know the American people are often angry and frustrated today, but let me tell you something, folks. This is a very great country, and there is nothing that cannot be fixed if we will rely on our hearts and our spirits and what we know to be true. I have traveled this whole world on your behalf. I have seen many different places. I have dealt with many different opportunities and problems. I am more convinced today than I was on the day I took the oath of office that the greatest days of America lie in front of us if we have the courage to live the dream of Martin Luther King. But remember, what he lived and died for was for every one of you to have the right to do good and to be good and to make the most of your own life. There was no living and dying for the freedom to shoot people, no living and dying for the freedom to shoot up, no living and dying for the freedom to hate people, no living and dying for the freedom to ignore the responsibilities of parenthood and the obligations of our children. That is not what this was about. And there was no living and dying to advance the proposition that we are all just isolated individuals out here. We don't need anybody helping anybody else, and everything we do as a government is intrinsically bad. That idea is wrong too. So I say to you, as you look to the next century, let's make Denver and the West the frontier of the next century.
Major funding for Jan Scott Tonight is provided by Nature's Own Imagination and by La Iguana and by Potter's Restaurant. Additional funding for Jan Scott Tonight is provided by the Royal Peacock Indian Restaurant and by the Pilates Center, by the Ringmaker, Bears Crossing, and by Gary Stahl, Goldsmith, and by Timothy D's Artistic Salon and Spa.
What kind of wine then?